Alrighty, and welcome back to another episode of the East Coast Trash Podcast. I am your host, Astro. Unfortunately, it's going to be a solo topic as my other co-host is indisposed with the war efforts. We got a very special guest today, first day of the new year, Femboy Friday, if you will. We're going to go ahead and get him on. If you have any sort of aversion to war and military stuff, sucks for you. He's the one. He's the only. He is the military femboy. You all love him. You all know him. Here's our guest, Ryan.
Shake him, break him down.
Oh, my. I think you might have the wrong room, Carl.
Hi, what's up?
So, Lion, you run the Twitter Femboy Military.
Yeah, that's me.
So, give us a little rundown on yourself.
So, I'm 20 years old from the United States. I was originally born in the Ukraine, and my main fascination is with Eastern Bloc military equipment and Eastern Bloc military history. But I actually kind of have a fascination with all military history now.
Yeah.
Now that I kind of got into it, and so pretty much I kind of wanted to be, kind of had that, what you call it? Why can't I think of the word now?
Collector?
Femininity.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. Kind of had that femininity kind of swing going on, so I said, no, screw it. I know about military history, and I'm kind of into this, so I might as well put them together. And I've been pretty successful. I think I'm up to almost 1,200 followers on Twitter.
Oh, that's definitely
And
impressive.
and I've only been doing the military history thing for roughly about a month now, so yeah, I mean, I kind of found something that works.
And I just have to ask, were you at all inspired by, I know there's a ton of other little femboy fishing is probably the most well known of the, I don't want to say like femboy genre. I guess you'd say parody scene, I guess. But was that of any inspiration? Are you even heard of that?
So I have, I'm actually was gonna do a podcast with Femboy Fishing, but he never ended up coming on. He got too busy. So I do know him. However, it was Femboy Geography that commented on one of my posts a while ago, because I used to just post just like random outfits, and then I said, you know what, screw it. I might as well just do it. Maybe I'll do it for a day, just for a good meme, get my 2 followers that actually like my post to, just a little laugh, and then I'll put it back to normal. But no, within like a day, I got like 600 followers, and then I think in the span of like 48 hours, I hit, I think it was like almost 700 or 800 followers, starting from I think I only had like 150 followers when I started doing the history stuff. So it kind of blew up, and yeah. So a lot of people like to refer to me as the femboy gimmick account that actually does the gimmick.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's, besides the fishing, I don't know a whole lot of them who do the second part of their job, I guess you would say, but they're gimmicks.
That's pretty much what it is. I mean, honestly, like people talk to me like about like stuff like the femboy stuff, and like they don't understand that I'm doing it as a meme. It's just a joke.
Yeah.
This isn't my lifestyle. This is just a hobby, So
This is one of those things where your boss better not find your Twitter, or else you're just like, oh yeah, I seen that. He's a cool guy. Yeah, I don't have Twitter. What is that? Is that a website or something?
Pretty much, kind of. In all reality, it's like, I hide my face pretty well. I have identifying markers on my body that I cover up, so I can immediately be like, oh, no, it's totally not me. And,
yeah, not me. I have a third nipple on my knees. You can see it right here. There you go.
Yeah. So Yeah, no, nobody's and I even like to my close like internet friends, like I have not shown them any of like my crazy tattoos either. So,
Oh
yeah,
yeah. Well, you've done a great job of hiding those up. I don't think I've ever seen any of your tattoos in any of your posts.
I
So
triple check every photo I post to make sure that it's exactly what I want.
it's kind of sending it off. You get it back from the editor. They're like, it's good. Just like, just check again.
Pretty much.
So you're into the Eastern Bloc kind of Russian, Ukrainian, Eastern Bloc kind of country militaria, right?
Pretty much. I mean, you think about it, it's pretty unique. It's kind of hard to come by around in the United States. If I have to order like equipment, like specific equipment, I have to order online from Russia, and it takes a month to get here. So it's kind of interesting, like the type of equipment you have. And I play airsoft too. So when I show up to like an airsoft like event and I'm wearing like all like Russian equipment, people are like, "Wow, that must have cost a fortune." And it's like, nah, I just went on eBay, and just paid for the shipping.
That is true. That is true. I've been I wouldn't call myself a decollector of militaria, but more of a specified. I collect more gas mask and just respirator face mask types of stuff. Actually, the other day, yeah, I managed to. I had discovered a fairly decent, I'd say about the size of a small warehouse, kind of scrapyard, military surplus store that was about 30 minutes from my place. That I'd never been, always wanted to, but when I went, I was blown away. They actually had a couple of Czech M10 M10 clones and some Yugoslavian masks as well. But I went the other day and they actually had a Polish MP5. They had a whole entire box, and unless I honestly would have walked right by them unless I looked carefully because they were all in their carrying cases. They didn't have a big sign. The only thing I can complain about is that they stapled the price tags into the material. So I've got this pair of staples and this really nice rubber carrying case for it, which kind of sucks. But I didn't have any Polish masks in my collection. I think my first ever gas mask. I think really anybody's ever first gas mask was the GP5, which I
Hmm.
mean it's commonplace. They're cheap. They're everywhere.
Yeah, no, I have a small collection of gas masks. Me and a friend of mine, we went to a estate sale one time, and this guy had a bunch of the I think it was I don't remember the exact model, but it's the gas masks they use in Desert Storm. Um, they're the ones with the filters. You actually have to like peel out the cheeks on the inside of the mask to
The
put the filters in.
M17s.
M17s, yep. So he had about 30 M17s with the gas mask bags, the extra eye protection um, lenses that you like slide on over the chemical hood. The
Yeah,
extra chemical hoods still wrapped in the chalk with their original packages, and he had a bunch of the old ACH Army helmets, like the Kevlar ones,
yeah.
and he was selling the masks with the extra parts for about $10. So my friend ended up buying his whole stock um, for I think it was uh, the guy was like give him masks and be like, oh, if you buy six, I'll give you like two for free because he just wanted to get rid of them. So I think he ended up spending like a little over $80 on the whole collection, and I ended up having three in my possession because he just gave them to me. So kind of lucked out on that. But that's about it for gas masks for me. But yeah, no, I totally get when Army Navy stores, especially like the chain surplus stores, staple things to their equipment.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, this one, the ones that I tend to go towards are more the grandpa and grandma pop kind of ones, where it's kind of like they look at it, they're like, $5, $10, what do you want to pay for it? Um, but it's funny. I went over there and I was just looking for just stuff to add to my airsoft kit because, um, I actually ordered a new shotgun. I'd been out of the sport for a few years, and a friend of mine had been had shown off his recent I don't want to say it's a SEMA, but it's an AK uh It's a green gas blowback 8K that I can't remember what model it is. It's an AKM of some sorts, but he was telling me about it, and I was like, oh, screw it, I'll get back into it. And I had already sold all my guns, or they were broken, and I didn't have any like desire to repair those certain ones, so I went ahead and bought one of their shotguns. It's like a tri-burst shotgun that's like in Rainbow Six Siege that was on sale, and I was like, oh, well, that's a decent one to get back into the sport. And I went there, but I was looking for pouches and stuff to add accessories and stuff to my loadout, and I actually stumbled upon some of my favorite, and I probably not common. I don't think the supply is definitely drying up, but in my opinion, it's my favorite strange kind of camouflage pattern. It's the Stricktarn, the Raindrop East German camo. And I managed to find a few AK pouches and a few, what do you call it? A little, just medic pouches, I guess you'd say. I don't know what specific model those are for, if they're just a pouch. And I also picked up a laundry bag, which I was really surprised, and it cost me about $50 to get about 10 pouches. But yeah,
Shit.
I've been on a kick to get an East German poncho. But again, Stricktarn is kind of one of those weird camos that was really popular for a bit, and then all of a sudden cut it out, and it's drying up. The supply is dwindling. Although I think I'm gonna go ahead. I found a place or seller on eBay that was selling 4 yards, I think, of it, with 4 yards of the Stricktarn pattern, just fabric. And I think I might get somebody to an Etsy artist, or hell, even if my own aunt in Michigan, but she's probably busy with other stuff, to get to make like a poncho, because the only ones I see are the NVA East German ones, which everybody's sold out of. But it is what
Are
it
you looking
is.
for more like an overcoat smock, or like an actual like rain poncho?
So it was a poncho, poncho shelter, kind of like the Russian version one, but it had two arm slits to put your hands through, so it felt more practical. But ideally, I'd want more of a German smock kind of one, so that's why I figured, oh, well, if I get the fabric, I can always make that.
Yeah, I got you. I mean, you can also, if you have the patience and the like, a Russian like surplus store like online, and you can figure out how to change the website to be on English, because some of those you can actually set the language for. You can find a lot of East German equipment, especially a lot of it's like still crated up, like unissued equipment for pretty cheap. Just the shipping's a little pricey, and it might take a month to get to where you are, but it's definitely worth it. My I actually have a lot of East German equipment. I have the winter pants, like the from 1957, and the winter jacket, I think from 1960. Both in the same pattern camouflage, and they were unissued, so they were still wrapped in like the paper that they came in like the from the factory. So yeah, but you can also find them, especially for some reason up north in the northeast. I've been out west, and you can't really find too much, but for some reason in the northeast, there's a lot of East German, like just uniforms, like East and West German uniforms. A lot of it's
Yeah.
like the pre 1960 stuff. So, especially like the pouches. I actually found a butt pack for a that was in the what's that called, the West German camouflage. It's like the mole. Was it mole gray or something? Mole green?
Yeah, I forget what they're called.
Moleskin. Moleskin.
Yeah, they were given nicknames that were more popular than what they were actually called. And that happens with
Yeah,
a lot of camos.
it was like the moleskin gray on the inside, then it was the strip tarn on the outside, and I thought that was really peculiar. Like you could invert them and make it a different color. So,
I think
yeah. So I mean,
what was it? The Germans actually, I think in World War II, I think I don't want to say they were the first ones, but I think they might have been where they had the fall and the summer reverse camouflage in their smocks a bit. I remember seeing that in their, I think they were called frog skin. It might have been that.
yeah. The smock I have right now, it's the swamp camouflage. I don't remember exactly what it is. It's kind of like an orange. I have put pictures of it on my Twitter. But if you invert it, it's all white in the inside, so you can wear it during the winter. So I'm pretty sure that's the fall color. I'm not too sure. I'm not 100% because I'm not really too versed in like everything German World War II. But yeah, from what I was told, I think that's the fall one,
Yeah.
fall design, fall camouflage.
I, me personally, I was fascinated more of the German side of it, just because I like their strange, like they'd take like weird attempts and make something that did not work, but it was always like, well, it's glad to see that that happened. Like, we know why it didn't work, but because it didn't work, we now know why it didn't work. And
I
all
think
those experimental weird stuff that they did was just fascinating to me.
I think out of all the uniforms in World War II, the Germans had the best looking uniform. Um, it definitely like their combat uniforms looked like dress uniforms compared to the U.S.
Yeah, I
or like
definitely say
the
that.
British.
I think actually I read somewhere that some like really popular German like dress uniform designer helped actually make those, and that's why they ended up looking so like proper and clean when
It's
everybody else was running around with olive drab and all sorts of OD green style kind of uniforms. And
it's a shame that the uniform that they're wearing was like pretty much is now looked at as like the image of pure evil because it's such a nice aesthetic uniform. You know, you if you wear that uniform like without like without like the whole like Nazi thing behind it, like people would actually like think it looks pretty good, you know. But
yeah,
it's
it's more
again,
of
it's a
the
shame.
the Bundeswehr, the German army that is, if you get into, if I've had a lot of people, I tell them about what I collect, and oh, I think that's fascinating. They're like, oh, so you collect Nazi masks? I'm like, I collect German army mask, and I have to give them the sort of rundown of why that's different from their two different just systems. It's like if like the Marines were their own, well, Marines, but then there was Republican militia. That'd be basically I'd say is how they would easily interpret and be able to understand what I trying to differentiate on it.
Yeah, like I have a full like German like combat equipment like uniform. Like I have the wool uniform from like mid-war, and I have the Y straps, the belt, the K98 pouches, the MP40 pouches, the bayonet, bread bag, gas mask tin. I have it all, but I've wore it to a World War II event, and it's not because um not because I'm a Nazi. It's because it was a reenactment. It's an
Yeah,
event. It's not a. They'll collect it because I'm ready to do an uprising or I'm trying to be racist. I'm doing it because it's history. And of course, I haven't worn it in a long time now. It's kind of just collecting dust on my shelf. But it's like, it's to me, it's fascinating because it's like stuff like this doesn't exist anymore. It'll probably never exist because no one will ever let something like this exist.
I think
It's
the big issue with people like us, like collectors, well, I wouldn't say collectors in general. I'd say more amateur, smaller collectors like us, everyday middle class correct collectors, I guess I'd say, is that we always have to deal with people who have no idea and get and I hate to say it, kind of the bland, I don't want to say washed over, but the really really quick kind of history lesson to like, okay, here's what happened, these were the things, there's the image, okay, go. when there's a whole lot more. It was like, oh, well, that was an image from this part of that system of this year. And I think a lot of people outside of the collecting community in military and historical collecting recognize that, oh, this guy's not a Nazi. He's dressing up in a 1941 wool uniform. And I think it's kind of difficult to deal with people that just are like, oh, so Nazi. And it's just like, no, not really. It's just history. But most of the people that I talk to about it, they, as soon as I explain, oh, well, this is why, this is the difference, they're like, oh, it's weird, but all right.
It's definitely a weird hobby. It's definitely very unique. You know, when people say like, "Oh, when I tell people like I collect military equipment, they usually think of like, the camouflage, like the woodland camo that the U.S. had in like the 1980s.
Yeah.
Kind of like thinking about stuff like that. But it's like, no, like I collect artifacts, I collect uniforms, I collect equipment. Like I have stuff in my collection from World War One, like that honestly I handle with rubber gloves because I don't want them to get destroyed. And I still have like uniforms that can confirm were used in Vietnam with the sleeves ripped off, and you can still see like the blood stains on them, and it's like, oh shit, okay. But
Let's,
you know,
speaking on those two subjects, when I was at that military store, and the best way I can describe this camo, and I saw it in a rain poncho. It looks like bloody vomit. It's like this weird kind of gray-ish brown with some darker light greens, and it has some like red thrown into it for some strange reason. And I've recognized the camo. I don't know. I could probably find it really easily, but I just refer to it as the vomit camo.
I know exactly what it is because I've seen those ponchos. I want to say I'm about 90% sure it's Swedish. I want to say. I'm say 90% because I've heard people say it's Swedish, but I've never actually looked it up myself.
Yeah.
Hang on, I'll Google that right now, just so it's Swedish. I think it's.
And on the other topic of your collection, let's get into more of what you collect, because you collect more uniforms and combat dress and the equipment, I'm guessing.
Yes. So my collection is so pretty much it's equipment that is Slavic, like from Slavic countries, Eastern Bloc countries. Other than my German equipment and like U.S. Army equipment that I've, collected from time in the service. But it was like, the Slavic stuff, like Eastern Bloc stuff. It's can be kind of hard to tell the difference between, because the Soviets, like the Russians and like Afghanistan, used the same exact type of jacket that the Czechs did. Like 5 years ago.
It was kind of one of those mass-produced things where we'll give this country the exact thing. They'll put their insignia and call it a Czech uniform, but it's really of Russian origin, and it's almost impossible. It's virtually the exact same thing, just with a different owner.
Yeah, like the green jacket I wear in a lot of my pictures, they're actually it's the exact same jacket as the one they used in the Soviet-Afghan war that you see in so many pictures. It's green because it was from Czechoslovakia. I think that was what it was called when they made the jacket. So, yeah, I have a Czech jacket, and then I have the Czech Ushanka, which is the hat I wear in a lot of those pictures, which looks pretty much identical to the Russian one, except if you look on the inside of it, it has two crossed bayonets, which is the insignia for Czech, so Czech equipment.
Now, you mentioned that you had some World War I stuff and other things that you were so precious about, and you had to almost wear protective equipment to limit the risk of damaging it? What are some of those items?
So I have a helmet that was from World War One, made in I think it was 1917, and it was used by the U.S. But it was contracted out. It was surplused out to a civil defense in the United States. So they painted the top of the helmet. It's like one of those doughboy helmets. It was painted. The top of it was painted white with the civil defense logo on it. But on the inside of the helmet, it still has the name of the original owner who was issued to in it, and the liner is still intact. It's a leather liner that's sewn together with cotton thread, and the chin strap is still intact, but it's has staining on it from just like the oil and stuff from um. So pretty much on your skin you have like your skin produces oil.
Yeah.
That oil can actually damage fabric that's
Yeah.
that old. So people who were handling it before I got a hold of it were like actually like rubbing their oily skin onto the fabric, and it started to stain it and make the color fade out of it. So whenever I handle that helmet liner, I tend to wear gloves, or at least try not to touch it on the main part of the fabric. Like I'll touch the metal pieces, like the metal clips, but I won't touch the actual leather or the stitching.
And that's understandable. A lot of people just don't. I have a lot of people I'll see on eBay or things that I bought that they obviously didn't know what it was. I some in my respirator collection I have a few Scott AV 2000s, which are an SCBA kind of firefighting industrial use.
Yep, I know what that is. It's the one. Has the
Yellow straps.
Block regulator that will click in, and you rotate it to the left a quarter turn.
Yep.
So it locks in. Yep, I know exactly which one you're talking about.
And so I have a bunch of those, and I actually wanted to. There was an adapter that was made for them to turn them into a 40 millimeter respirator mask. And I looked on that, and they have two versions, which is for a 40 millimeter, your standard NATO filters, and then they have that weird Honeywell Neosh. I don't even know what to call it. I'd call it by its brand name. I don't know if there's a specific threading for it, but Honeywell filters, like not paintball, spray painting kind of filters. But there was a guy who was selling one, an AV2000 with the Honeywell adapter in it. He was selling it for $10, and I jumped on that immediately, because the cheapest I've ever seen them is anywhere from $60 to $80. So it just goes to show that a lot of people just don't know what they have, and due to that knowledge not being known, it's prone to them mistreating it or mishandling it, and it eventually leading to damage, and you lose an artifact or you lose a piece of history.
Yeah, like a lot of the equipment I've acquired, like I have a Bulgarian trench coat. It's a wool trench coat that I found at a surplus store for $20. But if you go online, they are selling for approximately $120 to $130, brand new, and this one is slightly used. So I could definitely resell it for a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
However, I'm trying to hold on to it right now to see if there's any like significance, because it doesn't look exactly like a Bulgarian jacket. It has this red piping around the epaulets on the shoulders and on the collar. So I'm trying to see if that might have any like significant like resemblance or like significance to some unit that might be more valuable.
Yeah. So, another thing I wanted to ask is, you since you collect all these uniforms and gear, do you collect the historical firearms as well?
I started to. Right now, the only firearm I'm in possession of is a American-made AK out of North Carolina. It's I can't remember the company that makes it off the top of my head. It has a cherry oak wooden stock with a wooden handguard. The
Uh,
receiver was stamped in Russia, but it was assembled in the United States, and it was assembled under the semi-automatic weapons law in my state. So I can own it, but it cannot switch into full auto, and the bolt has to lock back when it's complete. Rounds are complete inside the magazine.
huh. Well, that's impressive. The only thing I really have that's historical, I have a M9130 Mosin Nagant
Hmm.
that I had been wanting one for a while, but you know, finding one is a lot easier now, a lot easier back in the day than it is now, just because back then there were quite literally millions of these. And nowadays there's less export and less import of the weapons that were in huge surpluses. And so you'll find them every once in a while in a gun shop, but for the most part, they've already been either bought or the ones that you still can get online are in slightly questionable states. But I managed to get this one from my friend, and it's one of the Ishevsk 1942 wartime ones. But he managed to sell it to me for about $400, which is about what they're going for nowadays. But it did come with the cleaning rod, case, everything. It didn't come with the stripper clips, but the stripper clips are incredibly easy to find and whatnot. But I say my only complaint with it is that the bayonet, since it kind of slips on and rotates over the front post, over the front sight post, it's for some reason it's tight on mine, even though they're all matching serial numbers, so it won't rotate past it. So I either leave it off or leave it on, but my front post sight is well, unusable.
Yep. I've been trying to get a Mosin, but I just for some reason have been kind of lazy to do it, just because I work so much. But a friend of mine actually just recently got a Finnish Mosin for I think he paid over 800 for it,
I was gonna
just
say
because
those are the best ones of the Mosins.
yeah, it's actually really interesting. The wood on the stock is a bit thicker, so it's easier. I find it easier to grip because I have bigger hands. So it's easier to grip. Also, the finish on it is um seems to be less like, you know how like on a Mosin it's very like shiny. It has like that poly finish, that really cheap poly finish. Um,
Yeah.
the finish one looks way better. It doesn't actually slip in your hand like the Russian Mosins do, and also, what's really interesting is the receiver is like a hex shape, like how
Yeah.
it's shaped, and it just feels like a better quality rifle overall.
The hexagon, it's well known that if you find any kind of Mosin, no matter if finish, with a hexagonal receiver, is generally of higher quality, because that's when it was either finish one, like you said, or it's one of the not quite interwar periods, but it's just before when I don't want to say pre-war production, but just when the start of the war is coming out, they made them higher quality and they had more metal in the receiver, and hence why they had hexagonal receivers. And later on during the war, they were running low on metal. Well, not running low on metal, but they were trying to save as much, and so they milled all that down, and all the hexagonal ones you'll see are generally earlier war or finish, and so they're
Yeah.
generally considered the Cadillacs of the Mosins.
So that same friend, he bought the do you know like back a few years ago how you could go into a gun store and buy a crate of like 5 Mosins for like maybe like $1,000,
Yeah.
and then you could, they're covered in cosmoline. They're just randomly packed in there.
Mm-hmm.
So a friend of mine bought a crate of them, and he was gonna, cause he resells them to people, and so he bought a crate. He unpacked them, was wiping the cosmoline off, and he looked on one of the receivers of one of the Mosins, and it said Springfield Armory on it. And
I
it turns
completely forgot that they made a few in the United States. I completely forgot about that.
two people in the U.S. who owns the Springfield Armory Mosin, and he keeps it wrapped in cosmoline inside of his gun safe. So one day when the museum asks him for it, he's going to give it to them, but he said he'll never sell it.
And that's understandable. I think probably uh, funny little story is I actually had wanted there was a the Rinko SKS on my local gun store, and I'd been eyeing it for weeks, and I was like, oh well, $400. The stock's kind of crap. I can replace that easily. I'll go ahead and get it. And when I went down to get it, they had just sold. But I managed to walk out of there with a Keltec Sub 2000, which I had really wanted, and it was slightly more effective in the sense that it's not as dated and well, it's an SKS that holds only 10 rounds versus you can put a 100-round Glock drum mag into one of these, and there you go. But I'd seen one, and it was in the kind of we wiped off visually the cosmoline, but it still had I opened it up and I was like, oh, that's a lot of cleaning, and I've never really I would get one next time I see it, but I'm never looking forward to having to clean all out the cosmoline that seeps into everywhere.
Yeah, it's definitely a pain in the ass to actually do. There is a solution you can soak it in, but at the same time, it's like, do you really want to get all the cosmoline off? Because technically, all it's doing is keeping the rifle from like rusting. So it's like,
Yeah.
unless like you find it really annoying to have it on your fingers. I mean, I don't think I'd mind that much.
Yeah. So, another big part of your I don't want to say character, but a big part of your persona is that you do have this relatively extensive military knowledge and then turn right around and wear thigh highs. So
Yeah.
what started it?
Started it. So um, I'm not gonna go into specifically what detail it was, but I recently just got back from being away with the military for a while. I'm in the reserves right now with the army, and so I got back and I was kind of like, like seeing all these people doing like this similar stuff on Twitter, and I thought, hey, that's kind of cool. Maybe I can do that just for fun, just to see where it goes, so I started doing it, and I got a lot of positive feedback on it, and so I had a few really loyal people who followed me that would like all my posts that I'm still friends with to this day, and yeah, no, I saw other people doing it. It was something I've been thinking about doing for I think over 2 years, and I finally just said, screw it, I'll try it. And I tested the water with a few different styles, and I found one that kind of fits me. And then I started doing the military history thing, mixing it with that one style that I found, you know, made me feel comfortable, and that was it. Because you see a lot of people, like a lot of people similar to me, who post like not safe for work, and they have OnlyFans and stuff. And
Yeah.
I was told by somebody that that's the only way you can be popular, on Twitter, being a femboy, and I wanted to prove them wrong. I wanted to show that you don't have to be not safe for work, and you can have people who genuinely follow you for you and your personality and the things that you post, not just your body, and not just for money. And so yeah, that's why I do it. That's why I'm still doing it. And that's why I'm gonna keep doing it till I either get bored or it's just something that I just uh doesn't work for me anymore.
And that's definitely a awesome way to look at it, is a way of creatively expressing yourself while also not selling out and building up. I wouldn't even say like a loyal like fan base. I'd more say like you're building friends and relationships in that aspect.
The thing is, as long as you comment, like if you DM me and or you comment on a post and you're nice and you are not trying to look to get into my pants or not trying to like do any weird stuff, I will 110% message you. And I don't know how long you've been following me for, but I think maybe like once a week I'll make a post and I'll say, hey, DM me if you want to play Among Us, and within like maybe like 10 minutes I'll have an entire ship for Among Us, and I'll like start a Discord server and I'll play Among Us with like people who follow me. Or for Thanksgiving this year, I invited people to a Discord call for pretty much people who didn't have any family to spend Thanksgiving with because of COVID. And I had about 30 people inside of a Discord call at once. We actually had to run two two calls at the same time so we could all be together. And so yeah, it was. I think it's just out of people tell me that it's pretty unique to see someone interacting with their community. But I think, yeah, I should 100% be allowed to, because I don't post, you know not safe for work. So the people who message me and the people who follow me, about a good 95% of them are just there for me, not there for the content. Well, yeah, they are there for the content, but not for the not safe for work, like horny content, I guess you can say.
Yeah, I one of the things that I think is incredibly fascinating is the fact that you'll have, and I also have to, just a quick little mention is that the thirsty you posted like a uncomfortable DMs ever, and I was reading through those and I thought it was the funniest shit I'd ever seen. I was like, wow, this could be a legitimate book of thirsty comments for Femboys, the book.
I have a lot more, but those are the ones I saved, because I tend to delete those because trying to have positivity. Um, but no, so I post on Reddit too. Same pictures on my Twitter. I post on Reddit, and I posted in a safe for work subreddit, and people still like very, I don't know what these people are thinking, going onto a safer work subreddit and then sending like those are like the first DMs they'll send me, is like really raunchy like sexual things, and it's like I just it's baffling. It's absolutely like I don't even know like words to explain it, like how ridiculous it is that these people think like, oh, this is a really good idea to go onto a safe for work subreddit and just start messaging people like that, just saying shit like that. Like, do you talk to people like that in public? Like, do you go up to women or to like people like me and just say that shit in public and think that it's acceptable? Or do you think it's okay because it's online and you have like a mask to conceal yourself, you
Oh,
know?
or it's in the same aspect of, oh well, you're choosing to be, and I don't want to say choosing to be a femboy, but you're choosing to have that identifying title card, so you must want this as well by pervert fucked up kind of logic. Um, and I see it. A lot of people, same as you, just brush it off or no, thank you. But then there are those few ones who that's also part of their fan bases. They say, yes, do this to me, and because some allow it, it kind of bleeds on over to the rest of the community.
Which that's the thing that sucks is, yeah, it's kind of like a title. but the title doesn't come from like a sexual thing. It can be, but just like everything else can. But you have to also remember there are minors who take that title. There are people who are um, a lot of this is like kind of an identity struggle for some people.
Hmm.
It's like, of course I do this for fun. I don't take this seriously. It's just kind of just something I do here and there. But it's like some people are actually like, do it because they just want someone to accept them. They want a community to accept them for who they are and not for, you know, um, because I've met a lot of people who are like, if they do any of that stuff in public or they do any of that stuff around their family and friends, that they'll be ostracized,
Yeah.
or, so it's like this should be like something that, people should be able to go to and be like, be accepted. You know what I mean? But then you have people like that who DM me, who DM so many other people, and I don't know if you saw my other post where I asked, um, Femboys of Twitter, send me your worst DMs you ever got, and I have like I think over 20 replies, all tags with like what people have said to them. This isn't a mental illness. This isn't this isn't just a small bunch of people doing this. This is hundreds, maybe even thousands of men, grown men and women. I shouldn't say just men because there are women who do this, and it's for different reasons, more perverted than the other, more sick and twisted than the other. But it's like it exists, and I get the whole point of shooting your shot with people. I've had people like come shoot their shot, and I always tell them like, yeah, I'm flattered, but no, thank you. But no, these aren't just shooting their shot. These are men who are trying to exploit, um, minors and young adults, like content creators who are legal. Um, and a lot of times, I feel like these people aren't doing it for themselves. They're doing it so they can post it other places and they can resell it and stuff. So it's like it's disturbing. It's disturbing to say the least, honestly.
You gotta all band together, or else that single you out and devour you.
Pretty much, yeah. But that's why on all my accounts that I post those pictures on, you can actually see in the bio it says, "No, I will not have sex with you. Do not ask." Um, so
If someone were to offer you a T-34 tank in exchange for a hand job, I'm just saying, I'd have a new tank.
I'm I'm just saying I would probably not believe it because that'd probably be a scam. But no. Honestly, like I feel like there's nothing, there's nothing more valuable than yourself, your dignity. Because your name shouldn't be for sale. And I'm friends with a lot of not safe for work content creators. Actually, I think all of my friends who do the same thing as me are not safe for work, and I tell them all the time. I'm like, listen, I'm not going to tell you how to run your life, but you shouldn't sell yourself like that, because down the road, your kids might see that, your parents might see that, or worst comes to worst, you might not get a job because of it, and it's like, so it comes with its ups and downs. But again, I'm not going to tell people how to live their life, and it's unfortunate because I have to watch these people, really, really try to get, their life figured out when this is just something that holds them back.
Yeah. And it's almost kind of a switch that, oh, well, this is my online community and my online identity. And then all of a sudden, I've seen it a lot in furry artist communities or any kind of community where you'll have a not safe for work artist or poster or creator post hundreds or quite amount of not safe for work content, and then all of a sudden they'll switch over and show either, oh, well, I also like to draw sunflowers and daisies with my Animal Crossing, or I also like to paint instead of do cam shows or stuff like that. And it's kind of, it's almost dipping your toes in the water, because some of the content creators will have a fan base that either will be completely supportive and be like, oh, that's great too, add it too, we want to see more of this, and they'll make an actual safe for work account and they'll post that and they'll get love on both ends, but you'll also get the more divided. Well, what is this? This isn't what we came here for. Well, I'm leaving, and they never return to that, and that would also damage not only their, not even reputation, but their persona, as well as their own self-esteem, confidence, and their own image.
Yeah, I can definitely see where you're coming from, because one of my like very good online friends, he is very famous when it comes to not safe for work, femboy stuff. He has millions of views on Pornhub. Him and his partner do a lot, and I just kind of stumbled across him by accident in a Discord server, and we started talking, and we became friends. And in the past few months, we've been, pretty good friends. Like we're gonna be playing like Daisy and stuff together, and he is absolutely one of the most like nicest people. Very very I don't know, already said nice, but he's very kind. He definitely
A wholesome person.
very wholesome, but on the other hand, he makes very not so wholesome content, and it sucks because I ask him, I'm like, does it ever bother you that the people aren't there for you? They're there for your content. They're there for your body. They don't care about your personality, because he has a wonderful personality, but it's like people will never know that. And he goes, yeah, it does kind of bother me a little bit. And he goes, I really want to stop, but it's like every time he wants to stop doing it and do his own thing, he's usually either talked out of it, or he's like just goes back to doing it because that's like one of his main forms of income.
It kind of feels like if you get so deep into it, you almost have an unfortunate, and sometimes in most cases, but almost a commitment to your fans or to your followers.
No, it kind of sucks, but it's like, and I don't like how I just don't like how it looks, because people will never know how good of a person he truly is, because all they care about is his body, what he looks like. But also what sucks is I'm gonna start talking about the downside of the community. Is you do, even though you have the horny men who like send messages to you, you also have really popular people who are femboys who are just absolute fucking scumbags. Um, there's one in particular that I've been hearing many bad things about, who's way more popular than me and a lot of my friends, who's friends with pretty much all the big accounts. I'm not gonna say who it is, just because I don't want to start spreading any rumors.
Yeah.
But the specific person is I was in a voice call with a friend of mine who's not a very big account, that he attempted to blackmail into having sex with him on his OnlyFans for money. And he told him if he didn't do it, he was going to dox him to all of his followers, and his parents were going to find out about it and stuff. So it's like, and he was kind of stuck in the center, in the middle, didn't really know what to do. Then from there on, I asked around, and turns out that he's been doing it to other people as well, and to the more popular people who he's friends with, he's been very manipulative to try to get stuff out of them for monetary gain. And I think, I don't know for sure if it's still going on. This is like a few weeks ago. They were talking about how he tried doing that to a 17-year-old, and in his country and the country the 17-year-old lives in, it is highly illegal. So they were trying to get the police involved. But of course, it's a slippery slope, because the question is, like, was the intent really there, or was it just kind of an act?
Yeah.
So, so dude, you definitely have like really nice people, but then you also have like the people hiding behind the nice mask. Like they hide behind it, and
so they have a fan base kind of personality, and then they have almost like a cold CEO business type. I want what I want. I'm gonna get it, or else kind of mentality.
More like a slimy motherfucker. I'm sorry if you don't like swearing.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay, yeah.
We're East Coast trash, not
slimy
East Coast.
Motherfucker. Yeah, no, this guy, honestly, he's one of those people. If he ever DMs me at all, I'm either gonna ignore it, block him, or if I ever meet him in real life, which there's a pretty high possibility I might, just because he's friends with one of my online friends. And I've told him about him, but he kind of is just like, I don't know about that. I know him in real life. He's not really like that. And I'm like, yeah, but I've seen the DMs.
It's
I've
kind of
seen
one of those
a lot of people.
where you're
This is
a friend of that nice personality, but at the same time, that's all it is. It's a personality that they're putting on for you.
yeah.
Um,
I feel like if there was a meetup for like these people on Twitter, he'd definitely be someone who would be invited. So that's the only problem is if like if I ever went to like because people have been talking about like going to like a convention together in Europe, and I'm like, yeah, I'll go to it, but it's like he's probably gonna be there. And honestly, out of all the shit I've heard, out of all the DMs I've seen, I really just want to like smack this guy across the mouth. I don't care what his gender is. I'm gonna smack him because he's the amount of shit he's fucking put minors and vulnerable people through is absolutely ridiculous, and it should be illegal. And honestly, I wish more people knew about it, but I don't want to start any rumors because it's not where what I want. I don't want to start a witch hunt.
yeah.
So
So to get on a more lighthearted topic,
yeah, yeah.
and to transition into our next phase is, you mentioned conventions. Have you been to any anime, Comic-Con, military conventions of yourself?
I've been wanting to. It's just I was I didn't have the money for it, so I didn't go to any. But I really want to, just because it seems like it's something I'd kind of fit into. It's also would be a really good excuse to wear the outfits that I have. So I think it would be a pretty good meme if I show up and people are taking pictures with me, and then they find out, oh shit, it's not, who I thought it was.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Well, I'd say that a lot of what almost happens in the Twitter, and I want to say not safe for work kind of model, I guess you'd say, or best way to describe it, kind of community, um, kind of bleeds over into real life sort of meetups and in conventions. You'll see it. You'll see these, and I've made a few friends with some of the model. Well, I wouldn't really say models, but the professional cosplayers,
yeah,
and few of them are more like, talk to my manager, and I'm like, all right. And a few of them, and for the most part, most of them are like, oh my god, I love your costume as well. I love what you did to it. Show me how you did that. Oh my gosh, do you want to go get lunch on really quick while I'm on my break, and we'll come back, um, do some stuff. And they're just genuinely, they just enjoy it just because it it's fun for them. And some see it as more of a business type of thing.
yeah. Like I wanna be kind of like Tom Hanks when it comes to popularity, because I know like in the future I'm probably gonna get more and more followers. I get like almost 100 like a week, so um, now it's kind of at a steady pace. But I know that more and more people are gonna find out about me, and so I want to be like again like Tom Hanks, because no matter who you are in his life, whether you're at the early part of his life or like brand new to him, he's always going to be nice to you. He's going to treat you like a human being. He's not going to shun you out like, I don't really want to talk to you, you're not popular like me. you know like it was people who've went to high school with Tom Hanks actually say that Tom still shows up to high school reunions and still like remembers the people he went to high school with. He still goes back to his hometown and he still talks to people like his neighbors, like normal people. He doesn't be like, oh yeah, oh I remember you, okay, whatever. It's like, no, he like actually like remembers their names. He's still nice to them. So um, that's how I want to be. I want to make sure I remember where I came from and the people who've got me here. So it's like, yeah,
And it's kind of funny, but one of the oh gosh, I never can remember his name on the spot, but he's the naked man in the Hangover movies, the Asian man, Chinaman. I forget the actor's name, but he actually went to my high school, And I want to say in 2018 we have a local kind of Red Cinemas theater that it's more owner owned than like franchise owned, so it's very personalized. And he actually came out because they spray painted half the building in a mural of him, and he came out and did like a big old like I'm still remember where I'm from, people, and it's really fun. I drive by that every once in a while, but
That's nice.
it's kind of fascinating to see who will still have an impact and who doesn't, and how that translates into where are they at now.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. No. It's. But I just see it so many times, time and time again, of just like, I try making friends with people who are like on Twitter who make content, but like I feel like once they make it over like that 200 follower like line, like they tend to just feel like oh like unless you're giving me money, I really don't want to talk to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like it's kind of unfortunate, but no, I mean people want to live their life the way they want to. That's fine, but that's not how I'm gonna do it. So
Now, speaking of money, and speaking of rising popularity, have you ever thought about getting to a point where you would have your own merch?
yeah, I thought about it. I thought about doing it as a meme, but then people were actually saying like, no, I'd actually buy that, and it's like, oh, okay,
What are
well,
some of those
maybe.
things that you were thinking of, if you don't mind me asking?
I I was thinking about making patches, like patches that are small enough you can fit them on like this your like a tactical jacket like on the sleeve, and
Yeah.
I don't really know exactly what I want to do, but I do have a an artist that used to draw stuff for me for free, um like my profile picture on Twitter and my old profile picture on there, which both of them were drawn by a actually no, it's just I don't think that was my profile. I had one that was you remember the I served the Soviet Union meme?
Yeah.
So a guy I know, he drew that meme but with me shaking the guy's hand saying I served the Soviet tank boy. So I was thinking about maybe making something similar to that, but I don't know yet. I'm still trying to figure it out. Um, but right now I'd have to find an artist because I can draw but I can't do digital art, and I want to make it digital. And
I'll
then I have to
say
find a patch company to do it for me, and then it's like then I have to find a retail place to sell it on. So
I'll
it
say
would depend.
the one of the better kind of meme anime operator kind of patch companies that I know of, and I actually bought um, one of their patches on the Black Friday sale. They had a patch that's a dosimeter, no, not dosimeter, a Geiger counter that read 3.4 Rogton, and it had the quote in kind of English style Cyrillic of not great, not terrible, which I hope you get that reference of the Chernobyl plant manager. I forget what his name was. Um, but it was his famous words of 3.4 Ronkton, not great, not terrible. But it's a little glow in the dark patch that I put on on my hat and I wear it to work every day. But
Is
wood
that
patch is what they're called.
wood patches? Yeah, I know wood patches. I know weapons grade waifu too.
I've honestly I was like, there's another one I cannot for the life of me remember, and it's weapons grade waifu, and I
Weapons grade
remember.
waifu, bacon patches is really good. They do
Oh,
all of
I completely forgot about them.
yeah bacon patches, and then there's another one I can't remember what they're called, but they do pretty good patches. I bought three patches from Weapons Grade Waifu, and I lost all three of them. One of them being the I think it's Kyoto's Surprise, which is the um they're always sold out of, and I was pretty upset because I ordered it right when they got it in stock again. So now I have to order another one when it's in stock. So, uh, yeah, I really need to get a patch wall set up because I have a lot of patches from like other countries, and a lot of anime patches too.
So I'm just gonna throw my idea out there. A future merch is you should have Russian camo pattern thigh high socks.
Hmm.
There you
Like
go.
the special forces like smock like the green and white one, the white spots.
Yeah, that way you can still do thigh high femboy and still be tactical.
Yeah, that might be a good idea. But
And transitioning
yeah, I could see that.
into it just because it's been staring me in the face this entire time. Are you a fan of the Fate series?
I am.
And who would you say is the best master? I feel like I'm gonna know this one already, but
So it, here. Have you seen any of the Fate Stay Night, Heaven's Feels movies?
funny story on that. When the third one came out not too long ago, I went to go see it. I had not seen any of the Heavens Feel, only because I just didn't know it existed. And I just enjoyed Fate, so I was like, oh, screw it. I don't have to understand much. I know the general concept. I went to go see it, and I'm like, oh, this is great. What's going on?
Yeah.
I mostly went for the fight scenes because Fate has just a wonderful reputation of having amazing, very good and very well animated fight scenes. And just I was like, all right, if nothing else out of this experience, I'll see a really good fight scene. And
Yeah.
I posted like there was the Cinemark like, oh, exclusives, like come see this, and a bunch of fans were commenting. I commented, I was like, went to go see it, not bad, didn't really see what was going on, meh, I like the fight scene. And I got so many
Yeah.
people that were like, how could you go and see the third movie and not know it? And I'm just like, yo, I know the series, I basically know what's going on.
Yeah, I was new to this series when I went with a friend of mine, and we saw so the theater I went to, they did part 1 and 2 as a double feature. And so you pretty much just sit there and you sit through like both movies. And then like the at the end of the week we went and saw the third movie. And I didn't know what was going on in the first two movies because it's implied that as you'd know what's going on if you saw the series.
Yeah.
So my friend had to explain to me between the first and the second movie things that I didn't know. And then when I started watching the second movie, it was like, oh, okay, I get it now. And then the third movie came out, and we went and go saw that. It was pretty good. So if canonically I've only seen half of Fate Stay Night, the series, I'm still watching it right now, but I've seen the Fate Stay Night movies. So in the Fate Stay Night movies, I'd say that uh, Emiya is the better master, just because he, even after Saber died, and like pretty much was like, well, it wasn't, didn't really die, it just got absorbed into the other magical being, the well, holy being, I'd say.
Yeah.
The Rin would be probably the better master in the actual series, because what I really liked is, so you've seen the series, right? The actual like episodes, like the anime.
The Fate Stay Night is the
Yeah.
one I know what generally happens. I know the synopsis of it, but I actually haven't seen. I actually started on Zero.
Yep.
Is the first one I started on, and then I was like, oh, I don't know what the hell is going on. I was like, is there an order I should be watching this? And they're like, well, technically, you don't have to watch them in any order, but if you want to watch them in continuity order, blah 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 blah. So I think Fate Zero was up until I think Babylon. Fate Zero is the first one you should start off if you want to do it canonically, I guess. But if you're wanting to do it, what actually came out,
Really figure out what's going on in the story.
yeah, Fate Stay
Start.
Night was. I just wasn't a fan of it just because I wasn't a big. There was a whole lot of slice of life bleed over into it that I wasn't
Mhm.
terribly well into. I was like, I want more historical. Tell me fight animation. Oh, that's a cool outfit. And so I plan to get back into it. It's just one of those times where it's like, I already know what happens, so do I need to get the filler content?
I also I also really like the Fate series just because I think Rin is like honestly like one of the most adorable characters in like any anime I've seen. she's very like kind of like she's kind of in between being like a tom girl and a uh what's it called a
Yondir? Durdiri?
yandere, yeah, and a
Yeah.
yandere. So it's kind of that in between, and also just like the thighs.
Thighs.
Meme was my favorite meme, and for a long time. So honestly, I really enjoy the character. But there's one scene in Fate Stay Night, which if anybody's listening and doesn't want spoilers, on a anime that came out like what was it like 10 years ago?
I'd say you're pretty well if they haven't seen it by now. Oh well.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a part where because Emiya and Rin were working together, um, and Rin pretty much said, "I'm gonna kill you after we're done, uh, you know, doing all this stupid stuff." There was a scene where she saw him at school alone without Saber. So Rin's like sent her I think it was Archer. Yeah, it was Archer. She sent Archer away so he wouldn't intervene, and she pretty much was gonna kill Emiya on her own, but he ended up saving her life, and she kind of got feels for him and was like, "Wow, you saved my life," even though I was trying to kill him, and so I thought that scene was pretty amusing when she's like running down the stairs using her finger as like a gun, shooting like magical like balls of energy out of her fingers, and it's like this is
Yeah.
just such a meme. Like this is just so terrible, but it's funny.
Now, in the aspect of masters, you can't have a master without a servant. So, in your opinion, best servant?
Definitely Saber. I mean, I know it sounds pretty cliche, but Saber's the only one who
Now, are you
was
are you going with Arthur Pendragon Saber?
hmm, I haven't seen that far in the series to be able to definitively say, you know,
I only
it's
say that because there's other sabers.
yeah, I'm saying the main one, the one in that was in Fate Stay Night. So I think it is King Arthur, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So it's the King Arthur one.
who would be your second?
Second, probably Ryder. From Fate Stay Night. I don't remember which one that one was.
I can't remember.
I think it was
either.
Medusa. That was it. It was Medusa.
Oh,
Medusa.
I
Yep.
I forgot. I was thinking Ryder, and I was picturing Archer. Oh no,
Yeah,
I was picturing Lancer.
Lancer. I think the Lancer, the spear Lancer, I think isn't all the Lancer spears though. That's my bad.
I think there's one that isn't, and I think that
Yeah,
might be in. No, that's in Zero as well. It might be in. I haven't seen a. What is it? Babylon.
Yeah, the Lancer in Stay Night is yeah, not a big fan. Not gonna lie. I just for some reason it's not like the personality. It's more just like the look. I just don't like looking at him. He's not very visually appealing to me. So,
Yeah.
that's just me though.
I think
so.
one of my favorite, besides the Padoru Christmas meme, my favorite all-time meme is just I forget his name every time. I always forget the master's name. I'm just like, oh, Saber Lancer. He was the church guy who was just like in the Heavens Field, the guy who beat the crap out of him at the end. And I forget his name, but it's he uses one of his command seals. He's like,
Top of my head, but he's like he dresses as a priest, but he's like the game
like moderator basically.
the moderator pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, he uses one of his command seals and he's like, Lancer, I command you to shit yourself.
It's kind of funny.
I'm gonna see if I can put this in the podcast because it's honestly iconic. But one of the I'd say my first favorite would probably be Saber as Mordred Pendragon, so the red one.
Yep.
And my second would also be Assassin or the Assassin Hassan of 1,000 Faces.
Oh, yep. The one, I think that's from the I think in the lore that the assassin where he belongs to, like the agency or like the group that he belongs to is Arabic,
Yeah.
I want to say. So I don't remember. I think in the visual novels somebody told me that it's like Arabic origin.
Yeah, and that bleeds over into real life because the word assassin was also like there's really no definitive like this is definitely where it originated from, but what the general consensus is that it originated from um, the Arabic region, and it either meant Hussassin, Hassas, or Hashish, which is either way either way you find it, it's either a person who after he kills then goes and smokes hashish, so smoker of hashish, assassin, or a follower of Hassan, which is a well-known, I think, assassin. But my favorite was the one that's like, it's like 100,000 versions of this that are all weak, or they're all like, oh well, they are all individually strange.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was eating an egg roll.
I actually had just a family tradition at my for New Year's is we always get like weird cheeses, sushi, and what is it? Sparkling cider. And so we didn't have the cheese last night, so I literally just had a very nice cheese platter.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know one of my favorite memes from the Fate series is so apparently according to I think it was Fate Zero, King Arthur's saber was cursed with a penis. So it's not actually so there's a meme where it's like it would show like like some like not safe for work fan art of like someone from the Fate series, and it just be like Saber's face, and it says, I can't remember who it was. It was the person who gave her the penis, and she goes, this said person, get me my penis.
I
Let me
think.
see if I can find it.
Have you ever seen the what is it called? The Fate's Learning with with FGO?
No.
It's the little chibified cartoon ones. And well, have you actually played Fate Grand Order?
I've not.
I would. Do you like?
Oh, it was Merlin.
Oh no, that does make sense.
Yeah.
I'll
send it to you in the Discord.
There is a. It's literally like a mini series that is basically just explaining the game in like a chibified kind of form, and it's just a bunch of shit. It's like if shit posting was animated.
It's pretty funny.
They actually made the They made some of the mascots like based on the chibified form. So you'll see videos. The female, like if you start the game, you start as either a female or male like master, and it's just a generic guys wearing white suits. You've probably seen, but the female, if you choose the female one, there's actually a mascot costume of it, and I, for the love of me, want to see if I can find one and buy one because it's funny as shit. Because if you look up any reference pictures or videos of it, it's just her just either kicking the actual announcer of like the convention or just falling over and just rolling around.
It's pretty funny.
Oh yeah, get me my dick. There
Yeah.
you go.
That's gotta be my favorite meme out of the whole series.
Why does that look? Ah, yeah. Have you watched any of the Netflix versions or Netflix? Yeah, there would be Netflix versions.
So the only Fate series things that I've seen is just Fate Stay Night, Heaven's Feels movies, and 10 episodes of Fate Stay Night. Just the series. I've not been watching anything else. I just haven't had time. I've been doing a lot of schooling and work, so pretty much my logic is if I have time to watch anime, I have time to study.
Gotcha. All right, we're gonna head to the final two questions before we reach the end of our podcast. We're gonna ask the first question, which is there something tell us something that your fans don't know that you would like to get out there.
Yeah. Here's one. I've said this before, but I feel like I need to say it again. I don't take this whole femboy thing seriously. I'm serious. Like this is just for fun. This isn't my lifestyle. If you ask me questions or try to tell me asking me questions about like lifestyle changes and stuff, I have no answer for that. I cannot give you advice on on transgender dysphoria. I don't know. Nor am I transgender. I sometimes have to tell people that, but if you ask me, I probably won't know. But I have had people come up to me and be like, "Wow, it's so brave of you to come out like that." And it's like, "What? What are you talking about?" That's kind of a negative one. For a positive one, I'd have to say, if you feel like you want to talk to me about anything military history related, video games or whatever, as long as you're not creepy or weird about it, dude, I'll talk to you about it. You know, I like to. I've had people tell me like they've been too nervous to tell me anything, but like there's no reason to be nervous. I'm not gonna make fun of you. I won't block you unless you say something weird. Just as long as you're nice about it, I'll 110%, do stuff, to a reasonable extent.
Alrighty, and final question before we let go. Do you think they can weaponize femboys?
That's a good question, actually. I feel like I've thought about this before, like a while back. In my opinion, if you have a bunch of like femboys who are in really good shape, who are well trained and well versed in their weaponry, especially when it comes to armor would be perfect for them, because you can not only will it be shielded inside of a tank, but also if they were dismounted infantry, you're not only catching your enemy off guard, underestimating what you can do, but also now you have people who are a little bit lighter, less bulkier, because they're because wearing skirts is going to be lighter material. The biggest issue I have is people say like, oh, like, you could totally, like, I see pictures of like female operators wearing skirts and stuff and wearing like short socks, and it's like, nah, you have to have something protecting your legs, because your legs are going to get tore up from going prone on the ground, like crawling and rolling and stuff. You're going to get like nasty, so you want to wear like a uniform. You want to wear actual pants, like cargo pants, to hold your equipment in and stuff like. And also the brass too. Brass gets really fucking hot, so you want to have like some form of like layer of clothing. So yes and no. So you could technically do it, but is it a good idea? Maybe not. Because
we'll find out.
I don't want to find out.
Alrighty. I want to thank you on coming on the podcast, telling us about yourself, talking about some very interesting points and some lighthearted jokes and memes. Is there anything else you want to say before we go ahead and head out?
Yeah, sorry for the cringe.
All right, this has been the East Coast Trash Podcast with your host, Astro. We will be back again. I will have Dak next time, and next time we're going to talk about California weed.
Man, what a stupid idea.
Yeah, like, cringe.
I don't know, like, maybe they're just losers.
East Coast Trash. What kind of name is that?
Right.
I guess only losers like this kind of stuff.
That's gross. Just imagine.
Ugh, come on, let's get out of here.